Somebody asked me one time where I got this checkering cradle, my swivel and locking system here, where I can rotate this thing and move it all around. I made this mostly myself. I had a machinist to make this ball. This is just a trailer hitch ball with a tightening collar on it and a bolt. But I didn't invent this. This is in Monty Kennedy's book on checkering and carving gun stocks, which I've had for 100 years. And I don't know which stock maker came up with this. It may have been Dale Goins, don't quote me on that. But anyway, he made his homemade, and I made this one homemade. When I first built this thing, from here up was all wood. All this right here, this was about a 3x3 oak beam that I put some holes in, slots, and then I put the ends on it, and where it would turn and swivel. All this was wood. Well, it was real clubby, and it didn't have very much range. It only went so far, north and south, and then it just wasn't all that good of a setup. But it was all I could figure up in the early 80s when I first built it. I had a hernia. I had a triple hernia surgery one time, and I couldn't work much, and so I decided to switch all this out for wood. And all this right here is stainless steel. A friend of mine used to work at a factory, and whenever they got a piece of any kind of metal that was just extra or it was in the way or whatever, he took it home, and he had enough stainless to build a ship. And so I went out to his place, and this is 2-inch tube, and this is probably 3-inch tube that this fits inside of very well, and I welded these ears on it, and I put these tightening nuts on it to where the whole thing is all just homemade. Everything here, I just built it, and it works. This thing has ultimate sliding capacity end to end. This can slide and pivot 360 degrees this way, so can the tailstock. And so I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't work because of the surgery, but I could weld. And so I got up here and I did some cutting and some welding, and in about a day and a half I built this thing. That first lay-in, just getting the finish and stuff out of those grooves, that's ugly. Wow. It'll look better as I go. That's all splotchy. This wood, like I said, this wood is very, very light in color, and the finish on the walnut to match this is fairly dark, so I'll have to even this up. It has to be the same. Whatever it takes, whether it's science, chemistry, or voodoo, it's got to be the same. More later. This cutter is a fine cutter, but it's dull. This bit should have been changed a long time ago, and it's a little on the dull side. But for this softwood, it's perfect. I have a fine cutter with a really good fairly sharp carbide bit on it, but it's actually too aggressive for this fine wood. And so a dull bit in softwood is actually, you have more control. It doesn't dig in as much because it's not as sharp. Just FYI. This is where a point pattern like this gets difficult. These little short lines just from here to here. Anybody can drive a semi-truck and turn it around in a 40-acre field. But trying to turn it around in a CVS parking lot without running up on somebody's grass or bumping somebody's fender, that's the hard part. Those long lines that go from here to here, anybody can do that. Just push it. And these little short ones have a starting and a stopping point, and if you miss it, it looks bad. And they get difficult. Years ago, I used to be bad about, I had sleep apnea and I'd fall asleep doing everything, driving, everything else. And one night, I was checkering a stock for a 350 Remington mag, pretty stock. It had some rosebuds carved at the ends of the checkering pattern. It was a real pretty stock. And I was checkering, and I fell asleep, and I woke up when I went right off the end of the barrel, and I had a line that went out through there somewhere. Yeah, I had to fix that. I decided I'd had enough fun checkering for the evening. I would do something else like watch TV and sleep. Thankfully, I've outgrown that sleep apnea stuff, or I seem to have. Part of me is really glad that this piece, I'm just deepening these and cleaning them out and using them and not having to actually make a new one. And the reason is this kind of pattern, this is called a point pattern. You can see all the points. Remington made them famous on their 700, so they had just a zigzag line of points up here, front and back. A point pattern, to do it right, to do it well, is not an easy thing. Especially when you've got to go around something like this release. For instance, if you go from here to here and count the number of scratches, lines, you should have the same from here to here. You should have. Because when you get done checkering these and you come up to right here, you come back with this line here, and you've got to come up here. And when you're making these things initially, not when you're just deepening them, but when you're making them, you got to have, this has got to match. From here to here has got to be a straight line, because this is one straight line. This border line is one straight line all the way up it to there. And it's parallel from there to there all the way back, and so forth and so on. So you've got 1,000 different chances to mess this thing up and to not make these lines meet. But this has to be straight down through here. You can't come down to right there and then jog over a little bit and keep going. It doesn't work that way. So whoever drew this pattern probably put it on a piece of paper and drew it out on a flat piece of paper before they ever put it on wood. You can do a pattern that way, and then you just lay it out and it rolls around, and you mark your points and go from there. But yeah, a well done point pattern is not an easy thing to do at all. So just deepening them, just cleaning out the lines that are already there, is not hard.